Hi, I'm Anurag.
Number one now.
Welcome to The Long Take. This week we're discussing Sudhir Mishra's new movie, Afwaah, which incidentally has an actor we hated watching last week, but somehow just happens to us again. What is this? Destiny? Anyway, Nawazuddin Siddiqui is back alongside Bhumi Pednekar, Sumit Vyas, and Sharif Hashmi. Although I would say, even though like Siddiqui and Pednekar are the official lead, I feel like this movie has more of Sumit Vyas. Why is he there like in every other scene?
Yeah, he's supposed to be the villain, I suppose. But there are multiple villains in this.
He occupied way too much of the movie for me. Like more than Siddiqui and Pednekar's characters.
I mean, yeah, of all the this is one of the many issues with this movie, which
Yeah, and his character is like not like there's no like nuance to it, right? Like his character is basically like some guy told me to do something. Either like Nivi's father or some random social media guy who can make everything go quote unquote viral. That's what he does. He just listens to people and it does their bidding.
yeah, he's one of those insecure guys who doesn't really have a personality of his own and is so afraid of everybody that he just turns into like a monster, like at the drop of a hat. But then speaking of nuance, I don't think any character in this movie has any sort of nuance. Even though the movie kind of talks about things that deserve
are supposed to be nuanced and are not.
Yeah. And that's primarily the problem with this movie, right?
Yeah, I watching it, I was like, this is basically like Sudhir Mishra's Anek.
This is Sudhir Mishra's Anek it feels as unpleasant as watching Anek, but then it's unpleasant. Like Tiku Wed Sheru last week, equally unpleasant, but then it's unpleasant in very different ways.
Yeah.
Like this feels in a way worse because Tiku Wed Sheru was like
it's not
garbage.
Trying to be about something, right? Tiku Wed Sheru is like we were trying to be a rom-com and we've just failed at that. We were trying to make a simple movie and we failed. This is like we're trying to make a complex movie and then we failed.
Yeah, and failed like miserably. It feels like a movie made by like 10-year-olds for 10-year-olds.
Yeah. It's basically, it is like classroom में आयो आज की ये पढ़ने वाले हैं class में.
This is so annoying, and I don't know if they just shoot the first draft of whatever scene they write because that's what it feels like.
I mean, I don't know. Sometimes it feels like they arrive at the set and they, as you said, they try to shoot the first draft and they realize that first draft is so bad. They try to rewrite it on the spot and then they shoot that, which is why it looks even worse than the first draft.
And it feels like they just shoot whatever Sudhir Mishra has come up with in the moment. Like every character
He's like, ये dialogue काम नहीं कर रहा है, ये reaction काम नहीं कर रहा है, ये try करते हैं.
Everybody just, there's no like natural dialogue in this movie, and I'm not sure if that was intentional. Like
that is basically like this friend circle, na, at this point. Like Anek we mentioned, Anubhav Sinha does the same thing in his movies at this point. Like all of his characters are like talking heads for him.
Yeah, but like I appreciated now that we've seen all these movies, these 4 movies that came out this year. Bheed, Faraz, Almost Pyar, and now this. Like I feel Bheed at least had some like cinematic like artistry to it.
Bheed I feel like is his rebound. Like I feel like he learned the lessons from Anek.
But Faraz and this are very similar in a way because both of them are like, oh, here is something that we want to talk about. But then there is no, it doesn't even feel like you're watching a movie. It feels like you're watching like a news debate with the same person who's talking to themselves.
Which like they don't help by literally like half the movie is basically happening on screen sometimes, right?
It is, yeah. And like,
because that's what I was getting. I was like, after a point, I was like, wait, I don't think Sudhir Mishra, like, if he even actually knows what's the ground reality, but his understanding or at least his POV in this movie is like online क्या होता है उसके through दिखा रहा है. He's not trying to show कि ground reality पे क्या हो रहा है. Everything is filtered through the online experience of it.
Which I'll concede maybe the point of the movie is that every character is also kind of perceiving a real life situation.
Like it's very tough to then make that like cinematic, right? There's a reason there's so many filmmakers out there who will never show a mobile display in their movies.
But that doesn't, I feel that he avoids doing that. That wasn't an issue for me. Like, I feel that every character in this movie is kind of reacting to what they've consumed on the internet, but you don't actually see them really consuming stuff on the internet. It's mostly like, here is what we do now. But I found that
there's also like a reductionist like view of like how actually things spread, right? Or how actually things are like done. You can't just like there's no like magic button with one guy sitting and be like, okay, ye viral ho gaya.
हाँ but नहीं, that is the problem with the movie. Everything is just like, ये इस moment में decide किया है, and it's that is it. Like, there is no like black or white. Like, this is what we're going to do, and that's how things are going to happen.
And you are expected to go along with us. If you don't go along with us, like, screw you, we were leaving you behind.
Yeah, like one man like magically appears, is like, मैं ये कर सकता हूँ, and then whatever he does, it works. Like, there's no like conflict, or there's no like setback.
Doesn't backfire in any way. Like, it just what he does. He achieves the goal.
And he achieves not just the goal. He 100% achieves. You know, like, it's like 10 on 10. Like, you are a genius at what you do types.
And it's also weird. Like, one moment they show us like we're sort of jumping forward in the narrative, but like now they're talking about this. At one moment, like, there's like 50 motorcycles like chasing the truck and like taking videos of it. And then 1 minute later, the truck has stopped, and then Bhumi Pednekar is doing a video in front of him. Like, what happened to those 50 motorcycles that were chasing you?
Bhumi Pednekar is doing a video. Why didn't she do the video earlier? If she does it like 2 hours into the, like, not 2 hours, but like 1.5 ghanta into a 2-hour movie.
To break the plot. Now she does it 15 minutes in.
Yeah, I mean, but then you have to explain it in a way that's satisfying. Okay, like they contrive a way for Nawaz to not talk to his wife, right?
Obviously. Yeah.
Whatever. But then they know what's happening around them, right? Because multiple people have told them and sold them out also.
And even the whole like Nawaz thing I didn't buy, because he calls her and she doesn't pick up and he just gives up. Bro, text her. Hello, this is Nawaz from the number.
Phone, when he gets his hands on a phone, it's like one of those moments where like in any other movie it would be the finale.
Landline पे हो क्या? तुमने landline से landline call करा, उसने नहीं उठाया, तो you gave up.
You gave up. Once only he gave up. Like, I would have 50 call.
I would have called, at least call 5 times, leave 5 text, and the person will believe you. Yeah, this is Nawaz. Like, this is probably my husband. Let me call him back.
Yeah, none of that happens.
He just calls once from like that dude Seth's phone. He's like, goodbye now.
But this is a thing with this movie, right? The movie nobody in this movie behaves like real people. Forget like in a very extraordinary kind of...
Yeah, they all have to like fit a certain like puzzle piece so that we can move forward to the next.
They're literally pawns, right? Which is what annoyed me about Faraz also. Like, you're using your characters as pawns, and that in a way kind of robs the urgency of what you're trying to communicate. Like in this movie also, it's supposed to be a chase, and you're supposed to
eventually just
feel for these people.
It cuts at the foundation of the movie itself, right? If the world is not believable, then you're just like, yeah, okay, like kuch bhi ho raha hai. The rules he's making up as he goes along now.
Yeah, the rules are fully made up as he goes along, right? Because characters suddenly pop up and they're like, acha, how have we arrived here now, and why are these people talking to each other now? Ye kaun hai? What is the purpose? Their purpose is only to say like 3 lines to our protagonist. That is all that they do. That is their entire purpose, which is why they have popped up on your screen right now.
Yeah, I think that's like another like problem which like I think he shares with his director friends, is that he takes on too many things. Like Sudhir Mishra wants to attack like 150 things in like one movie. Like make 10 movies, no? Why do you have to do everything in one movie?
I don't know. Obviously, a part of me is like, you're saying and doing things that not a lot of people are saying and doing these days, right? Whatever. But then this is so counterproductive. Like, why would anybody watch this movie? Forget like...
That's what I keep going back to. This is like basically Sudhir Mishra putting out a Twitter thread about the things that ail India and then turning that into a movie. It's just like, do a Twitter thread. Don't make a movie if this is what you're going to produce.
But this is almost like damaging your cause in a way. Like, kya ho raha hai?
And what cause if no one sees what you make?
No one sees, chalo theek hai. Like a lot of... If this was a good movie, I would have given you that. So no one sees it is ironic. Like, you're making it's a terrible movie. Even if you screen this in like 4,000 theaters across the country, no one would see it. That's only because it's not a good movie.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, what do we talk? Like, a couple of weird things that really... It took me like... I had like a double take almost. Was 2 moments where Nawaz randomly bumps into acquaintances.
which is like, again, like go back. I mean, for me, it went back to how he's trying to like every like dialogue scene, he wants to cram in a new subtopic. I think he wants to attack.
नहीं, but मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा because he even supposed to be from this area? Like, I don't know what.
I think that's sort of implied because like he's come back from America.
He's come back from America
to his ancestors. Basically, he's like Shah Rukh Khan from Swades or whatever.
Shah Rukh Khan from this, but the whatever fictional town in which the movie is set doesn't even seem like a town. It seems like a village. And then he runs into one person at this Nivi's friend's house, and then there's a doctor that he runs into, and both of them are like old acquaintances. That kind of stuff happens, and part of me is like, is he like messing with those people? Because how of all, like, if you're gonna run into two people, then why are you running into more people? You know, it looks like a very tiny ass town. So ये क्या हो रहा है?
And it's not even like your tiny town. It's like you were going from your village to, what is it, Nahargarh, whatever.
Yeah.
And in the middle he takes a diversion because of traffic into Sawalpur, and there he's meeting these people.
Yeah.
So technically these are your sister towns people.
It's super confusing. Then just fundamentally the casting of Nawazuddin Siddiqui in this role
does not work. He can't do any of the accents properly. He can't do the Rajasthani accent. He can't do the American accent. I don't know what he's doing.
Why is he even talking in English most of the time to people?
Because I had to convey to audience that he's in NR.
समझ गए ना वो तो तुम्हारे opening seminar में हम समझ गए.
Exactly. You spoke to the camera literally.
Yeah, and you were in an environment where it sort of makes sense for you to speak in English. Yeah. But then when you're addressing random thugs,
people in Sawalpur, you need to like drop it.
Yeah, he's talking to the random thugs.
If you did not know Hindi, then I'm like, okay, sure, you can only speak English. But like, you were always been here. It's not like you born in the US and came here.
You already made a reference about your accent कि मेरा मजाक ज़्यादा बाहर यहाँ उड़ाया जाता है than abroad. So fine, I get your backstory in that opening scene, whatever, it's fine. But now why are you like, even Bhumi Pednekar's character, when those people are after her, she's talking to them in English. Like,
actually, I could identify. I think the moment she would switch into English, it felt like that was literally Sudhir Mishra talking to us, and he did not know how to like translate these things into Hindi. He's like, I'm just gonna say this.
Speaking of like Sudhir Mishra talking to us, there's again that one scene that stands out, right, in which these two are like in, I don't know, like they reach some location, like a large hangar sort of place with a bunch of people are there, and then a college student apparently walks up to them. He's like, "Tum wohi dono," and whatever. And then she lectures him कि तुम कुछ भी मान लोगे.
That is such a that's full like, this is our movie's purpose, and in case the last 70 minutes have not told you already, this is what we're about.
Yeah. Even like,
I think Faraz even had this, right? I think
all these movies have this. Now it's like a game you identify.
Like, they don't even like trust their audience. Like, पहले तुम बोलते हो, we made us movies for a smart audience, right? That's what you're claiming on the surface, and then you speak down to the smart audience.
They think very lowly of their audience.
But then you're insulting the people who are at least coming to your movies, right? Who are at least above the normal like masala crowd. And then तुम इनको भी insult करो, जो 2% लोग आए हैं उनको भी तुम मजाक उड़ा रहे हो.
नहीं तो मुझे लगता है is one of two things. One is that don't think highly of their audience, and two, they are actually trying to target audiences that might not really watch their movies ever.
So in case like those audiences have somehow survived 65 minutes of their terrible direction and writing, they're like, here is the movie summary for you.
Here's the movie. Don't believe what you read on the internet. Wow, thank you for telling
your
us.
character has like delivered it. As this is a documentary, you know, it's he and she is a talking head.
Yeah. It's complete nonsense, right? And then this is a problem with both those characters. Occasionally what happens is I never got the sense that their life was in danger. So there are a few scenes in which they'll be like, agar hum mar gaye to ye, agar main mar gaya to aise, which I'm like, fine, you understand. But then later they seem to forget like the gravity of the situation. Like they are going after things and doing things that don't really make sense in that moment. Like your people are after you to kill you, right? और तुम ये सब कर रहे हो.
Even the first moment it doesn't make sense. Like the way the Nivi ends up in Rahab's car, like that sequence itself made no sense to me, because it was like Rahab versus like 10 people. and he just casually like brushes off Vicky as if they're like strangers on the street who like galti se bumped into each other, and he goes into his car. Like, why is no one stopping this from happening? Everyone is 5 feet away from each other. You can stop this from like them from running away in the Range Rover.
It's just poor direction.
Exactly.
It's because that's where your mind goes in. Like Vicky is so close to Rahab in that scene. It almost feels as if he's deliberately letting them go.
Yeah.
And that is not what you like. For a second, I thought, okay, why does he have like some other plan? Like, why is he letting them? But it's one of those things, right? It's like that other scene where Nivi crosses the street and is shot.
Yeah.
Right. But then Rahab is on the other side and he gets stuck there. But you have no sense of like geography. Kitni badi sadak hai? What is he up against? Like how many cars, this, that. It's just you see him and you see her, and the moment he's supposed to cross the street, he crosses the street. And all of it is like that. It's just very, very shoddily directed.
Yeah. Like the chase that happens like after that, they run in the Range Rover where like Vicky just allows them to, as we have discovered. That chase is like so shoddily done. Like you never get, again, as you said, the sense of geography. I was like, just like watch one Bond movie and you will find out how to like figure out where to send cars, how like cars are supposed to behave. Yahan to kuch ho hi nahi raha, matlab. It's like there's no sense of thrill. It's just like, okay, ye hua, yahan chalega, and suddenly like they took a turn and everyone like left them and like, okay, your scene is over.
Yeah. When they take when the car gets like they ditch the car, they take this left turn into this alleyway, but then the people who are chasing them are really not that far behind for them to not notice that they've taken that turn, right? So then that's just like a blocking issue. Like there needs to be a longer gap between them taking that turn and the people who are chasing them taking that turn. Or not taking that turn.
Yeah,
Because otherwise
it's not like these movies fail on like one level, right? Okay, they're like poorly written and they like talk to their audience directly instead of like showing these things happening. They're like, you're failing on like multiple fronts. You're not even a capable like director in terms of just like, as you said, blocking and like, ensuring that scenes seem believable in the moment. Like, how are you going to make an entire feature film if you can't do like one thing?
No, but that is so unfortunate because we are talking about Sudhir Mishra, right? Who is legend level in Hindi films. And I really liked his last movie, also with Nawaz.
Serious, man. And
this feels like you came up with it in January and by June the movie was ready, It just feels like one of those things ki haan, ye hai, paise hai, banao aur nikalo. There's no like, take your time, think about it, refine it, It feels very like slapdash and shoddy and not in an exciting way where you're like, oh, the movie is rough around the edges, it's imperfect, but that's good. This is just like...
Yeah, it's not Steven Spielberg putting out a movie in 6 months.
Yeah. What next? My God, like the ending kind of just wrecked my brain.
The ending is like that Netflix guilty level ending.
Yeah, like what is happening?
Then you start to question like, this movie had any value, like which it already didn't have any value, but like you're just like, wait, did they have any idea what they were doing? Because like it seems like like we're not even writers. We know that you're supposed to like think of the ending first.
I mean, I don't, even if you don't think of the ending, like I still don't, I'm not sure if we are meant to take this entire thing in a slightly literal manner, like consider this a reality, or is it entirely like a fantastical world where things are just happening?
Yeah, especially like once he like, after being stabbed twice, he starts walking along the edges of the fort
he runs.
And then somehow gets inside the fort. I'm just like, how long is it going to take for him to bleed out?
So first he's knocking at the whatever fort, right?
Yeah.
Where everybody inside the fort knows what's happening outside. Nobody seems to be bothered. Nobody seems to have told his wife what's happening. She realizes in that moment. It's all too much to be like, ye kyun ho raha hai, ye kyun ho raha hai, ye kyun ho raha hai, ye kyun ho raha hai. Too many questions in your head which shouldn't be there in that moment, because that moment is supposed to be this grand culmination where this character has arrived at a destination he was supposed to arrive at, right? Help is on the other side. It's supposed to be very simple. Like the stakes are so simple in that scene. Open the door.
Yeah.
But then you pile on so much nonsense and पीछे से 50 लोग आ जाते हैं, and then that isn't like simply done. Okay, this person wants to kill that person. No, he has to tell the other person. That person has to go through a model.
Yeah, he has to turn this person again. For a longest while, I thought the entire journey of like Chandan's character was that he's been betrayed by Vicky. He will eventually realize that after the multiple failed attempts on his life, and his culmination as a character will be that he takes revenge on Vicky. Yeah. No, at the last minute, Sudhir Mishra has decided that his character will again, quote unquote, redeem himself in the eyes of Vicky and kill Raha. I'm like, what? You're trying to undo the entire character's like journey in the movie? What are you trying to say? That these characters will always remain who they are, they will never change? Is that the like meaning?
No, even if you are, I'm pretty sure that's what he wants to say. But even if that was the point, wasn't there like a more like, I mean, I don't want to use the word nuance because picture mein tha nahi, but couldn't there have been a better way to do it than that final showdown in which 50 characters are already doing other things for you to kind of, I mean, you've already had plenty of opportunity to put him through that test in the last whatever few hours this movie has unfolded through, right? So ab in person doing it feels a little like, am I supposed to buy this also now? Like, I don't care what decision Chandan makes in this moment, right? Because tum karna hai, jo karna hai tum karo, because abhi to it's just happening for the sake of it. And then there's that other bit where the donkeys come out of the truck and I'm like, what do you lied to us? They sounded
this is supposed to be like he's doing like last minute black humor twist or whatever. I'm just like, no, I'm like, this is not adding to your like movie. This is at a, you know, this was like a Breaking Bad episode, and at the end of it, like this was like, oh wow, this is what the reality was. Like, okay, then I'll get it. But like, your movie is so kachara to that point. I don't like, this does not add like a, you know, a sprinkle of dust or something on the top of it.
Even when that scene was happening, where the lone cop stops the truck on the highway, the driver started acting so suspicious. I was like,
also, you don't buy the cop in that scene, right? Because any cop worth his like salt, the first thing he would be like, turn off the truck, give me the keys. That is like, I'm not a cop. I know this is how, I've seen enough cop movies. This is what happens. They always say, point the gun at the guy who's driving, turn off the engine, give me the keys, step outside. Those are the first three things every cop in every cop movie says. He does not do that.
In real life, if you've ever been pulled up.
Exactly. Like you ensure that the vehicle you're trying to stop, which is a 2 or 3 ton vehicle, which is a damn truck, make sure they cannot be mobile in the next few seconds and kill you. But no, this cop is idiotic.
This cop is idiotic. I'm not sure if the movie knows that he's because he's the guy who kind of lets
He's missing like Chandan, right? All the time. Yeah, and you just keep making a joke out of it like it doesn't work. Then why is Vicky relying on this guy who's apparently the cop's escape, like whatever. He gets an award in the start of the movie.
Yeah, but I don't think the movie thinks of him as a joke.
Yeah, that's the problem.
I don't think anybody in this entire world is like thought of as like everybody's like dead serious. Like everybody, oh my god.
Even that guy who accidentally shoots Nivi, like he's supposed to be having like an existential crisis. I'm like, no, this guy is a idiot. He's being brainwashed by everyone, whoever he meets. Like, show that these are kind of people that, you know, India is full of, who just like get influenced by anyone to do anything. But nahi, yahan pe to he's being treated like as if like uska kuch crisis ho raha hai.
Even the moral center of this movie, which is Nivi, I suppose, is from like the first scene in which she shows up. I'm like, are you an idiot? Is this the first time you realize your fiance is crazy?
Exactly. Like, how do you even reach this point of the relationship, right? Why did it take on video seeing your fiance approving someone's like death or sanctioning someone's death?
No. Like, uske pehle kya was he like an angel?
Was there no like Godfather 2? It took Godfather 3 for Sofia Coppola to figure out ki, oh my god, my husband is a murderer. You don't arrive this point in your life. Godfather 2 has already happened before this. So you should have left him before.
Or at least not been this surprised in the first moment that we've met you. You know? It makes it feel...
This is like a family man moment for me. Like, you know, if you remember like in the early scenes, like he starts acting in season 1, like he's not able to handle his like spy life and his family life. I'm just like, bro, you've been a spy for 20 years. Why are you acting? Like for us, it's new. Okay, we're seeing you like for 5 minutes. But for you, it's very old to do this.
Yeah. Everybody, it's like, it's very...
Yeah, everyone's arrived like, because they know the story starts here.
And meanwhile, Nawazuddin is walking around with this bemused face. Like, dude, people are literally in the hospital when those goons show up with like chaku waku. Everybody shows up. His face is just like as if like his niece has come with like mithai or something. Please, some terror on your face would like would sell this scene a little.
He's like, what? How dare you bring knives? I thought this was a peaceful country.
He's just like, ये क्या है? कहाँ आ गया मैं? You can almost tell like उसका mood क्या था on the day of shooting. Like some scenes he's like yelling and screaming like गाली वाली दे रहा है English में, and then some scenes he's just standing, just wondering what's happened. It's like they didn't know like this movie is supposed to be like people are chasing you to kill you like in every scene. It's almost like some scenes they shot with the assumption that nahi, hum to bas like on a trip we've come.
Yeah, the tension is not a word this movie understands. Like,
which is
never seen a Hitchcock
because
movie in
like, it's a chase thriller.
Yeah.
Without any
like
tension.
Deflate the tension every 5 minutes. Like finds a way to like deflate it. If not, like it's a very problem. It chases like we haven't even spoken about some storylines. There's 1,000 things like being happening in the movie sometimes. Not just like Vicky and Chandan happening, or just like Rahab and Nivi are running, but there's also like that female cop who is with that idiotic cop's like side piece. Uska there's an arc happening with like a woman who is like the witness to a murder. I'm like, ये भी घुसा दो movie के अंदर. बहुत time है तुम्हारे पास ना.
Yeah, who cares about who you're going to frame?
Drop some storylines. Like rewrite things. When you rewrite things, you should be like, oh wait, यहाँ पे distraction आ रहा है to keep the tension and to jump from this Nivi and Rahab scene to this Nivi and Rahab scene. Everything in the middle has to go.
Ideally, you should 90% of the time be with Nivi and Rahab.
Yeah.
And then just momentarily cut and just to kind of
which is why I got that feeling, right? I was like, why is the Sumit Vyas appearing the most when you have cast Nawazuddin Siddiqui and Bhumi Pednekar in your movie?
Yeah. Sumit Vyas is serving the purpose in the dumbass cop's life what Nivi's father is doing in Sumit Vyas's life. So it's like multiple layers of people like really functioning as machines to poke other characters.
Is appearing so much because Vicky is the glue between the two narratives, right? He can glue the Chandan storyline and the Nivi storyline. There's no other character who can cross over between the two also.
Yeah, it's very like strange. It's not
just stupid. Like if you wanted like that character to appear so much in your screen, then cast a bigger actor. Like put someone else. Maybe put Nawazuddin Siddiqui in that role. He can play that from Gangs of Wasseypur, as you've seen.
I mean, I didn't even feel that it was an acting issue. Like it just felt like I didn't even mind Vicky as a character though. Like in all honesty, like I feel Nawaz was more hit or miss than any other actor. Like the others were doing whatever they were told to. But with Nawaz's performance, I felt like, oh, there's a dissonance in terms of what's happening in terms of the story and what you're communicating with your face. They had more like hoops to kind of jump through also. Like Vicky is basically in one location.
Yeah, one location and also like one emotion.
Yeah, movie. Just had one purpose. So uska to basic tha कि I want you come back. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a annoying movie, not just disappointing.
Annoying thing, because it's barely a movie at times.
Yeah.
Right, time to wrap up.
Yep.
Okay then. That's all for this episode of The Long Take. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram at The Long Take Pod. You can write to us at thelongtakepod@gmail.com. Please leave us a rating and a review wherever you listen to this episode, and we will see you next week.